Logan, I don't know, did you want to jump in just on this last point about voting and any other thoughts that you had on Bethel's article? No country for old conservatives. You keep describing yourself. Like, you're not old, though. You're like, what are you, like 20?
Old at heart at 31.
Old at heart. Young fogey. That was another one of your blog titles, I thought.
Yeah, I'm older than I look. I'm 31, but still pretty young, but old at heart.
But there is a sense it's old conservatives. There's a sort of conservatism that is, I mean, we feel like it's vanishing, right? And it is more genuine on authentic conservatism. Right.
You're classic three-legged stool Reaganite. A lot of that is just kind of breaking up now. And I don't recognize these news strains.
I watched the RNC. I watched the convention. I was just like, this is not, I don't identify with any of this.
Jonah Goldberg.
Except maybe Hulk Hogan.
Before the 2020 election, Jonah Goldberg had said, I believe it was he who wrote, that maybe it would be a good thing if Republicans would lose the election, because what it would do is it would teach them that Trump isn't necessarily the electable choice, and therefore conservatives would return to kind of a more traditional Reagan conservatism. And he was completely wrong. He was completely, because not only did they not do that, then they lost in 2022 as well. The midterm stuff where the red wave should have taken over, and it didn't. So the problem is, again, it's not politics. Politics is reflective of the moral nature and character of the society, and the society is sinking. And that's where the problem is. Look, it was Adams that said our republic can only work for a virtuous and moral generation, right? In 1900, more people per capita had guns than in 2100, yet nobody shot anybody else. So something is different, and it's the moral understanding of the individual, because people don't fear God anymore. And
I think, Well, just add to that, I think that's true. I also think that this is maybe a less sort of high-minded moral point and more just sort of social observation point. But people like to be entertained, and Trump is far and away the funniest, most charismatic, most charming of the candidates who were on offer. I loved Ron DeSantis. I voted for Ron DeSantis. But
you didn't find Ben Carson entertaining?
No, I didn't. But anyway, but our politics now operates like a virtual reality TV show, where the most photogenic candidate wins. And so people just have very short attention spans these days. They're going to kind of go for the shiny, for what makes them laugh.
Neil Postman, where are you? Rolling over in your, I don't know if he's still alive or not.
Yeah. And Reagan was very charming in his day. He was an actor.
That's true.
Right. So Reagan just came along at this sort of perfect moment where he sort of was all in one. Like, he sort of combined the charm, the charisma, the entertainment value with
the internal substance. Yeah.
Right. So it's an interesting question whether we'll ever be able to produce another Reagan. Whether we live in a culture, whether we live in a society where it's even possible to sell, in marketing terms, to sell this kind of old-fashioned stuff in a fun, entertaining way. Which is a cynical comment, but that's probably where we're at now.
Well, Lincoln would be toast.
Well, that's
that's
what I'll make a brief comment. It's just it's the question of the moral decline and the choosing of lesser two evils. I mean, I think ultimately, like the conversation needs to be had, like just what Bethel just said. Like, do we have the sort of, like, I don't know if I want to call it spiritual or theological capital to produce someone that's able to govern someone like the United States? Maybe we don't, in which case not voting doesn't produce the hope for a better candidate. It just continues to, it actually expedites it. And I think that's a question that we need to probably start having is like, as a church, realistically, how much capital do we have? Like an honest evaluation. I full circle back to Megan's book. Like she does end on a hopeful note, but I'm almost like, yeah, but you're basically saying we have maybe half the capital we expect we have, or maybe like 25%. So it is. She does say it takes very little to do a lot of work. Like she highlights Cal Beisner, but maybe that's the first question to having better candidates is maybe we need to have an honest look at like, what does our spiritual capital actually look like? And if it's a couple 100,000 against billions, then that might put us in a better, at least headspace to know what we actually should be working on.
And just a quick note on Megan Trump, because one repeated criticism, it's something that Warren Smith tried to do in his review, was to say this book is all about Trump. The hero of this book is Donald Trump, and that's who Megan's really obsessed with. It's just not true. The book is not about Trump. It's kind of a Rorschach type thing. And also, I appreciate, and Meg and I have been friends for a long time. Meg has never tried to, bind my conscience. She's never tried to tell me that I'm sinning by not voting for Trump or whatever. We're good. We understand each other. I think she plans to vote for him, but that's different from binding consciences. And so I also get frustrated. That's just one of many things people try to pin on her that I think is unfair.